Hi, we are a couple of childhood friends who want to talk about all the things that interest us, especially sports. We call ourselves the Overperforming Underdogs. Welcome to our channel. This is the second episode of Schrödinger Sport. We are back with all your feedback. In today's episode, find the interesting developments in Formula 1, NBA, and football. Politics is the pitch of the cricket's latest tussle. Which show or documentary will I recommend this week? And last but not the least, what does Ayan think about the current world events? My name is Kaiwalya with my co-host and Bachpan ka dost Ayan. Before we start, please like, share and subscribe. Let's get into it.
So, Formula 1. There is finally confirmation on the 2020 season. The schedule is out. 8 races have been confirmed, with all of it starting in Austria's Red Bull Ring on the 5th and 12th of July. We then move on to Hungary on the 19th of July, followed by your favorite track, Silverstone, in Great Britain, with 2 back-to-back race weekends on the 2nd and 9th of August. This will be followed by Spain, Belgium and the Italian Grand Prix. These are the races that have been confirmed by now, with possibility of more races being added on as the year progresses.
So since there were 2 races happening at the same venue, back to back, there were certain suggestions that were put forth by the F1, like reversing the direction of the grid, or even starting with the reverse grid for the qualifier of the second race of the same venue. But as of now, all of those suggestions have been scrapped. We have a regular race. We have discussed more upon the reverse grid on our podcast, so you can have a look at that.
Yes. I think we now move on to football.
So in football, La Liga is back, with games starting on 11th or 12th of June, depending on where you are located in the world. Social distancing, empty stadiums and more available substitutions are going to be the norm, and all high-profile players are coming out to say this experience will be unique and fans will be missed. La Liga is placed precariously, with Barcelona 2 points ahead of Real Madrid, who are in turn 9 points ahead of Sevilla, with Atletico Madrid languishing in 6th place, 13 points behind the league leaders. So it's quite a tight league right now. And Ayan, considering this is of extreme personal interest to you, what are your thoughts on the return?
Hala Madrid. I can't wait for the season to restart. It's one of the most watched football leagues around the world, and with this returning on the 12th and the English Premier League returning on the 17th, football has truly returned. In-stadium fans are absolutely going to be missed. The clouds are clearing and the stars of the footballing world are ready to shine. And they're going to shine often, with your favorite team playing on an average every 3 days. That's all the major updates in football. Let's now move on to another sport that's moving faster than we can keep up. Basketball, primarily the NBA. Now you may remember from our previous video that the NBA community was considering creating a bubble in the Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Right? Now the NBA, which is the association itself, and the group of owners has actually voted on it and approved it. They're going to invite 22 teams to come and play, with there being a play-in game for the 8th seed, and each team will play 8 regular season games with a new schedule. So the NBA is back, but it's complicated. We will be creating an in-depth video closer to the restart of the NBA, so watch out for that.
I am talking of a bubble. I had this interesting thought. Imagine if there's an island for all world sports, like a sort of global sports gymkhana. So in case there's another pandemic, all sports person and crew can quarantine there and sports won't have to stop. I mean, imagine a cricket stadium in the center and F1 track around it.
How are the umpires going to hear your
They can alter the timings, dude. It's not a big deal.
No, I'm not even going to start with all the problems this has, but how do I say this? Interesting idea, let's put a pin on it and come back at some later point.
Okay, let's move on to cricket. So in cricket, first question off the bat for you, Ayan, is do you have the appetite for 2 IPLs within a span of 9 months?
No.
Yeah,
No.
me neither. Although there is a lot of talk regarding that, and since IPL is a cash cow, there are chances that it can happen this year. Although there is a lot of talk regarding that, BCCI, please make the World T20 happen, and I'm requesting the BCCI and not the ICC for obvious reasons.
Speaking of the ICC and BCCI, there are 2 things that Indians love talking about: cricket and politics. Today we have politics in cricket for you. The ICC is in the process of electing its next chairman, and the BCCI, being its biggest contributor, obviously wants to have a say in it. So there's a lot of politics happening there, with outsiders like former South African captain Graham Smith also saying that Sourav Ganguly may be a good candidate for this.
Go Dada. It reminds me of the early 2000s with Dada leading the gang in difficult.
As long as he's not removing his suit and flashing that around.
Well, Flintoff's not there, so I don't think that's gonna happen.
Now, in last week's documentary recommendation, we recommended The Last Dance, which was based on Michael Jordan's last season with the Chicago Bulls. This week, Kaiwalya has a very interesting recommendation.
So this week's recommendation is The Test, a new era for Australia's team. With no games happening at all, we hope this fills your appetite for action in cricket. This is the story of the Australian cricket team's fall from disgrace following the ball tampering incident in 2018, going from being champions to being the ultimate underdogs in every series that followed. This is the story of resurgence, the tough road to being a force to reckon with in global cricket. I would give it a 4 on 5. This documentary has a lot of exclusive footage of the Australian cricket locker room and a lot of behind the scenes. You really get into the mindsets of some of these players.
My rating is once more 3 on 5. The documentary is well made, like you said, lots of behind the scenes, and the story is a traditionally powerful one. But there are times when this all feels like a massive PR gimmick for Cricket Australia. So I'm going to give it a 3 on 5.
So that's it for the sports updates. Now you may be wondering why we have rushed through sports updates. Well, we wanted to discuss something that matters to both of us personally, as well as forms a major part of the identity of Overperforming Underdogs. And while an extended version of this conversation can be heard on our podcast, linked in the description, we want to take this time to talk about how we individually feel about racism and racism in sport.
Yes, I think the death of George Floyd, an African American man at the hands of a white policeman in Minnesota, has not just rocked the sports world, but it was a match that ignited protest all over the world, with powerful images coming from the US, from London, from various parts in the world. This incident wasn't an isolated incident, but was the outcome of a racially divided country and a racially divided world. Discrimination and segregation based on who you are is something that impacts me a lot. I absolutely stand with George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. Isolated incidents of hatred can be attributed to one person, but systemic racism is a problem that we must together recognize and very intentionally fight against. Misuse of privilege is prevalent. In fact, it's widely prevalent. So much so that I may even go on to say that it is systemically encouraged. In sports too, for the longest time, Muslim Indian hockey players were not allowed to play against Pakistan, and this is post-independence. During the NFL, Colin Kaepernick has been kneeling at the time of the national anthem to protest against exactly what started all of these protests, which is police brutality against a minority group. Darren Sammy has recently come out and said that, or has spoken about the racism that he's faced during the IPL. I think to our audiences who have the right intention but are missing context, please do not respond to Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matter. All Lives Matter is an inherently accepted thought, but when that comes in as a response to Black Lives Matter, it takes away from the movement itself. Even though your intention may have been very literal, it is essentially saying that uplift everybody as a response to uplifting the poor. You don't need to fucking uplift the uplifted, right? Now, All Lives Matter has become a racist response. All Lives Matter is now a symbolic racist reaction to a very anti-racist movement.
I hope this context helps, and we hope that this is treated with the sensitivity and kindness it needs to be treated with.
Yes, and please go and I think it would be a good idea to educate ourselves with everything that even sports people are saying. Lewis Hamilton has come and spoken about it. LeBron James is using his platform, and there are lots of other stars who are talking about it. Also, you could reach out to us on the social media handles that are now being displayed on your screen if you want to talk about any of these topics, or other sports related topics. And that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.